Hello, everybody.
Are we on?
We are on. Yes.
I didn't get any warning. I was like thinking a bell should like ring or like the screen should flash or like maybe it should be dark in here. And then when it starts, it should just like all the lights come on.
Oh, that would be exciting.
Like a concert.
Like an event best practice.
Because I'm sure everybody who's watching us right now is like cheering, like, ah.
I'm sure. I'm sure. Yeah, so while everybody just kind of hops on to the webinar, we're going to give it about a minute. But if you have, why don't you tell us in the Q&A, we have a Q&A in, and our colleague Elise is working the Q&A today. If you could just tell us maybe what the weather's like where you are, here in Denver, partly cloudy skies, still relatively beautiful day.
Yeah, I'm going to lean towards mostly cloudy. Looking out the window here.
I come from Michigan. I would call this
in our amazing fake studio backdrop, it might look like it's snowing outside. I'm not exactly sure. There's like a car driving by or something like that. So
pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Yes, maybe what we can do in our next webinar is you all can vote for what kind of like environment you want to see. Do you want to see an event behind us? Do you want to see the beach? For those of you that like love cold weather, maybe we could show some mountains and some skiing. I don't know. But anyway,
put it in the Q&A.
It's like playing around with this studio. It's so cool.
Yeah, we love the studio. It's fun. We love our friends at Brand Viva.
For sure. Are we ready to get started?
We are.
We should start with an introduction.
We should.
All right, welcome to Elevate Your Event Live. I am one of your hosts, Jeff Porter, CEO of Handbid, and we have
Lori Mackay. I am the Director of Marketing with Handbid.
And we have a special guest today. We're going to introduce him in just 1 second, but let's quickly go through a couple of housekeeping items.
Yeah.
Okay. So what do we normally cover in these? We guys not familiar with it. It's called Elevate Your Event. And then we talk about all the various ways you can make your next fundraiser better. We have lots of tips on there. We'll bring on some guests. It is absolutely, I would say, just chock full of great information for folks. Even if you've been you're at old handed events, you're going to probably learn something new there.
Yeah.
Okay. So we certainly recommend that you guys subscribe to that podcast, but we thought it'd be nice to also do a live version of that once a month. And so that is what you are currently watching. You're watching Elevate Your Event Live. We do them once a month. What do we cover? We will usually bring on a partner or a client and we'll let them talk about what they do and kind of what their experience has been, not just with events, but fundraising with nonprofits in general. We'll talk about what's going on at Handbid, in terms of the software or anything else that we feel is relevant to you guys. We'll talk about what's also coming up next. And then we'll also share what we call some event best practices and some pro tips. Sometimes pro tips can get a little nerdy and other times they're just kind of, hey, that's a kind of a cool idea for my event. Kind of thing.
Yep.
And we brought a pro right here to talk about our pro tips.
Yay.
All right. So, okay. So I'm sure someone's asking Elise right now, is this event recorded? It is. You should be asked that. I think in this day and age, you think usually these webinar tools will tell you that it's being recorded, but it is, and it'll be available for you to review again. We'll throw it up on YouTube or somewhere else where you can watch it. This is live. So there's no editing going on here. And we ask that because it's live, you have the opportunity to ask us questions. And so fire away. And we've got Elise over here furiously typing. So she's answering your questions and you are free to ask those at any time. And we might actually get some of those funneled into us.
Yeah.
As well.
Who knows?
Okay. Who knows?
We'll see.
All right. Are we ready to introduce our awesome partner?
I think so. Yep.
Okay. Salvatore. And I'm going to make sure I get this right. Sal Pietro. And I think you go by the name Sal. And I'm looking at an amazing photo here of you with a ukulele.
Yeah, so you nailed it on the name. Congrats. I have people that I'm related to that get it wrong. So that's great. Yes, the ukulele, that was a prop. I was actually at the HubSpot Inbound conference in Boston a year and a half ago or so, and they had a photo booth there, and there was a bunch of props. And I play guitar. The closest thing was a ukulele, so I picked it up, threw on some glasses that are not prescription, and did a little photo there. And I said, this is LinkedIn worthy. I'm lazy.
It is LinkedIn worthy, and I will tell you, it is. You look extremely cool in this photo.
Yeah.
And so Anyway, but you are like, we're not here obviously to talk about your skills, but I
Please
suspect you are a musician. Looking at how you're handling this ukulele, you look really comfortable with it. So congratulations on that. But let's talk about, why don't you tell us a little bit about your company and what you guys do?
Sure. So Fundraise Up. We are a platform that is really a precision tool for digital fundraising, and just really that donate button on the website. So, unlike many other kind of platforms in the space where CRM, which they all have their place, where they'll have the CRM and the this and the marketing and then a donation form. We've chose to focus on one thing, that donor experience, optimizing that experience for the donor, and through that, increasing revenue and ROI really for nonprofits on their efforts in fundraising. So that's the platform. That's what we do. We're really, for nonprofits of any size, we've really set out this year to be welcoming and accessible to nonprofits that are small, 1-2 person shops, up to clients of ours like UNICEF USA and Canadian Red Cross. So we really span the whole gamut, which is tough, but we think the space needs it. I came from the e-commerce startup space, then I moved into nonprofits where I was a director of digital marketing. And then I found this company, fledgling company, Fundraise Up, had a prototype. I tried it, had good results, and I'm actually the first employee at Fundraise Up. And now
Are you really?
I am, and now we're closing in on 200. So it's been a wild 4.5 years.
Wow, that's incredible.
That is awesome. And so give us a little more insight into, because I've seen the demo of your product. I think it's extremely cool. And so you're allowing people to have this donation tool or this donation widget. Does it integrate with their CRM? Is it in place of or in conjunction with? Like, explain how, the types of customers that would use it, and what does it typically replace and what does it complement?
Yeah, I think, even similar to Handbid, and I love when nonprofits take the best-in-class tech stack approach, right? As opposed to that kind of, all-in-one Swiss Army knife toolbox. I always tell people, if you need a pair of scissors, you're not reaching for your pocket knife and finding a pair of scissors on there. You're looking for a real pair of scissors, but it's good in a pinch, right? So yeah, we let any nonprofit use that. We plug into any CRM. We need the CRM. Right? We need to send our data somewhere, and that revenue needs to go somewhere and get booked and logged. So we plug into all the principal CRMs, Donor Perfect, Bloomerang, Salesforce, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And we love it when we're working with partners like you guys, where, they say, I really want to get deeper on live events, and I want to work with a company that specializes and focuses on that, not just have it as another feature in a suite of modules, right? Because really going a mile deep is important to get efficacy and results. So that's.
No, we definitely share that philosophy. Like, to us, integrations are the key, because to your point about, kind of how you use your scissors, I had to open my dryer the other day with a Leatherman. So I will be the first to tell you, like, it's nice to have the right tool in your hand versus the mediocre tool that can get the job done. So, yeah, it totally makes sense. And, and I sit on the board of a few nonprofits, and you guys came up the other day because we were talking. And again, it's like, how do you maximize the opportunity that's in front of you when you have a donor there, right? And that's kind of where, describe kind of what the up part of Fundraise Up means in terms of what your tool does that's different than just a classic donation form that people might get from their CRM.
Great question. I mean, the up is, we want to level up the experience, level up revenue, level up the whole thing for the nonprofit and their relationship with the donor. But getting that experience right is critical to that. What was the second part of the question?
Yeah, just describing, like, I mean, this tool and this widget is different than what I'm going to get.
Right. I know where my thought was. Sorry. It's live. I'm flustered. We're delivering things that speak to any demographic, really. Our mission is, like, if I can order a pizza on Uber Eats in 2 clicks without typing, I should be able to give money to a nonprofit just as easily. So our North Star isn't, peers in the nonprofit space. It's how do we maximize ROI at a for-profit level, right? How does Amazon have subscribe and save? How are they, how does Uber Eats save a payment method? Allow me to, Apple Pay my donation. And we've seen nonprofits that are like, our donor base is 50 years and older. That's all that gives money. And then I'll look at a donation form. I'm like, yeah, because it does not look like somebody who's 27 years old that, has a philanthropic bone in their body is going to want to give on that. And then we'll see them switch to Fundraise Up. And now the 25 to 50 is like their biggest giving segment now, because
Right.
they're tapping into new donors that connect with Apple Pay, Google Pay, Venmo, and so on. So it's really about delivering an experience that resonates with all the demographics and making it as easy as a consumer level experience, right? Donors
Yeah.
are consumers. Consumers are donors. The expectation does not drop when you go to give money.
It doesn't. I mean, and that's something that I think in the nonprofit space has been tough for a lot of our charity clients to embrace, is the idea that certain companies out there, certain types of technologies have conditioned our donors to want a certain experience, right?
Mhm.
And I think COVID pushed that forward quite a bit, right? Even into the older population, but you look at Starbucks, it's like, not only is Starbucks convenient because I can buy it from my app, but people now specifically don't go to certain coffee shops because the experience there is not as easy as it is at Starbucks, even though they might like the coffee better. And, we saw this, there's a local coffee chain here in Denver, and I was chatting with, one of the franchise owners of it, and they were struggling, and they're like, I'm struggling because my corporate office needs to make a better coffee ordering app.
Mhm.
And I don't think everybody fully understands that. It's like, I mean, how long has it been since you could cash your check or deposit your check? Not cash, obviously. That'd be really neat if you could cash your check on your phone and have money spill out of it. But yeah, it's live. This is what we get to do, right, Sal? So anyway, but deposit your check with your phone. It's been years, right? But people are like, well, I don't know. I mean, I still like to go into the bank. Well, COVID now forced everybody, including my dad, who's 82, right, to be able to learn how to do it. And so what I'm getting at as it comes to fundraising, it's kind of the same thing. You're saying, hey, you're right. Like, most of my donors only, are over the age of 50 that give on this page, because on that page, I'm asking for 55 pieces of information, or the technology in the form is so outdated, it's frustrating.
Yeah.
And somebody who's 25, they're going to look at that and say, too hard.
Right.
Right. Don't got time for it. Yep. And tied into that, like, there's this build versus buy mentality often. And I see nonprofits too often, like, we don't have the budget. Let's make it in-house, right? We have one web designer. They can build an entire live event auction platform. Let them go to it with Gravity Form. It's not possible. And when you look at, the tech companies, Joe's Pizza isn't building an app. Uber Eats builds the app. Joe's Pizza leverages it, right? So nonprofits really should be leveraging the technology that's out there, like Handbid, like Fundraise Up, like other things, instead of trying to build it in, because they're not going to be able to keep up with the trends and the times, just like what you're saying. I mean, QR codes, like before COVID, like nobody wanted to touch them. Now you have to use it at a restaurant everywhere you go, right, to look at the menu.
Right.
And these are the things that nonprofits can't keep up with. It's the tech platforms, Handbid, and so on that need to keep it
right. Well, and here's the funny thing you mentioned about restaurant like QR codes, because you're right, they're everywhere now. And here's the funny thing, like, I'm not getting any younger, right? And my eyes are not getting any better. And so, like, I have a QR code, and now it goes to my homegrown website, which is not easy to read on a mobile device. And I'm sitting there on the phone, like, trying to zoom in on this thing, trying to read this restaurant's menu. Whereas if I had partnered with a real restaurant menu company, like, and I would have loaded my data in it, it would have been really easy to read. And you could tell the difference with those. And it's like, a lot of businesses, they're not making those connections about what's really important here. What's really important is the user experience. Because ultimately, how do I make money as a restaurant? They order something off my menu. How do I make money as a charity? They donate on my page, or they come to an event, they check in, they bid, they donate, they do all those things. And if you don't make that process easy, they're going to get frustrated. And I think one of the things that people think in their head is they'll say, oh, well, having them download an app is going to make it harder. Actually, having them download an app is going to make it easier
Yeah.
because the app experience is easier, especially for older people. Like that's the thing that people don't understand is like, it's way easier to be in an app like, like the Handbid app and bid and be able to swipe and have a responsive interface than it is to give a 70-year-old a web page on a phone. I mean, so anyway.
Yeah.
We push back on that concept.
We do. Yeah. And look, like we love working with companies like Fundraise Up and partners like you guys, because you guys are thinking ahead. You're driving the user experience that we see is important, and so I think it's important, for all of us to kind of just to continue to kind of advance this industry in that regard. So we definitely appreciate what you guys do.
I was checking we have the Crossbeam connection there with our two companies, and we got a lot of nonprofits agree, right? We have a lot of companies, not nonprofits, that are using both Handbid and Fundraise Up, and these are the ones that are going to be at the edge and forward thinking and innovating and open to these concepts, which I think it's critical for the world. It's not just about. I always look beyond the nonprofit and I look at the beneficiaries. Like that's what we're here for. And when I hear a nonprofit say, "Oh, I can't because IT said no," I'm like, you got to take that to the beneficiaries and explain that. So I won't go down that rant, but we'll save that for another time.
Yeah, for sure. Well, this has been a great conversation. We're going to obviously supply some links and everything else to our guests, but just how do people get started with Fundraise Up? You kind of leave our audience with a couple of steps that they can take to learn more about your organization.
Yeah, so fundraiseup.com is going to give you a nice overview of the integrations and the functionality and all that. But I'd invite anybody here that's listening that wants to learn more. If you want a shortcut to me and my team, just drop an email to partners@fundraiseup.com. We're partners. That's going to get fast tracked and get some extra special TLC from my team and myself, and we'll make sure that we take care of the crew.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's awesome. And just so the viewers know, if you go to resources in your Zoom tab at the bottom, if you scroll over that, we have some links in there to Fundraise Up, as well as to their amazing blog that they have that has some really great resources in there as well. So make sure you click on that, and don't forget to just shoot Sal an email about your interest in how Fundraise Up can be used for you and your organization. So take a look at it. You never know what it's going to do for you.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Sal, for the chat, and you're welcome to hang out. We're going to kind of dive into the rest of this webinar as we kind of move forward, but always good to chat with you guys, and hope to see you guys soon at an upcoming event conference.
Yeah.
Thanks so much. I appreciate it. And I'm going to hang back here behind the scenes and listen in. I want to learn more about Handbid and all the cool stuff in there.
Awesome.
Right. Thanks, Sal. Thanks for joining us. All right, so now we're going to transition right into the latest updates and upgrades. So we're doing it a little different today. Normally we would give you a little event tip and a pro tip and stuff. We're going to do that at the end, but we're going to jump right into our new release that we had. Well, actually the last couple of releases that we had, just a few little upgrades and updates.
Yeah, we were busy over the holidays, and some of the stuff that we've pushed out, some of it's been for our commercial clients, but it's obviously got some benefit, I would say, to all of our favorite nonprofits as well.
Yeah.
So we're going to show you some of those things. I'm going to throw up my screen, and we're just going to do a little bit of just like a quick live overview. And then we'll talk a little bit about what's coming up. Why not?
Okay. A little sneak peek, just a little one. Just a little one.
Little sneak.
So the very first one is enhanced bulk edit of items. So we're going to take a look at that. We're going to demo that on Jeff's computer.
Yeah, it's funny because as people have asked us constantly to add more and more things that they want to be able to bulk edit, like this little modal got a little bit overwhelmingly complicated. So we just cleaned it up. I mean, and we added some other cool stuff in here that's also in Lori's list. But if I'm looking to bulk edit like a collection of these items, let's just grab a couple of these silent auction items here. And I say bulk actions, edit items. We've just made this list a little cleaner. Okay. It might be hard to see, but if you kind of zoom in here, we just put little sliders in here. So if you want to show the value, hide the value, now it looks a little bit easier than it did before on the eyes. Okay. So that's one big thing that we've done. And you've seen, if you've been in our tool before, you've seen the ability to kind of go in and bulk edit things like moving everything to a category. We added a cool feature here, which allows you to add a category from here. So you're not having to like go back and type it and create the category, then come back into the bulk editor. And that's kind of fun and easy for you guys. We've always had set item status or change the status of an item, lower the starting bid. Why would I do that? Items aren't selling. I just need to, like, you know what? Here's my list of no bid items and in that category, select all, lower the starting bid. And the beauty is you can lower it by 10, by a percentage. So you're not having because they're all over the place, right? But let's just lower them all by 25%, see if I can get some takers. Okay. What does fire sale mean? Fire sale is something that was real popular kind of in the old paper bidding times. I call it the old paper bidding times, but you would have a bunch of items that didn't sell. And so what would you want to do? You want to sell them at the starting bid. So what this does is this puts a buy now price at the starting bid. And so when your auction's over, you can mark them all for fire sale. It'll create a buy now price for you at the starting bid. So as soon as somebody bids on it, they bought it. Okay. Kind of an easy, fun thing to do. The other thing that's in here is now copy to auction. So for those of you that use us for multiple auctions, maybe throughout the year, or maybe even over year to year, and you've got last year's auction up and you're like, I need to move all these items to my next year's auction because it's the same stuff. So why am I going and putting them all back into a spreadsheet just to re-import them? You can do it this way. Okay. In the past, we tell you to export them out and re-import them. You don't even have to do that. You can say hit copy to auction and then pick another auction in your org. Okay. Very handy.
I love that feature. And I would have to say, as a coach and somebody who's worked with a lot of clients, the bulk edit tool is not utilized as much as it probably should be for a lot of clients. A lot of clients don't recognize that you can do this. Look at all the cool things you can edit now in bulk. So you can sort by category, bulk edit, or even maybe bulk hide, like an entire category. So as you guys are peeling things out, you can be thinking, I can do this in bulk. I don't necessarily have to do this item by item by item. So this has become a lot more robust and you guys are going to love it. Please use it. Give us some feedback. We love to get some feedback on that, but this is a great tool. And the copy from one auction to another. We know that you guys have been asking for that. We know. So we heard you and you got it.
I know, and it's funny because not a lot of mobile bidding companies do this. We definitely do. We go to events, right? We staff these events. So we have a lot of, competitors who have probably never been to an event in their entire life. They just built, auction software over COVID. We go, trust me, we know. And so we do these things and we're like, we'll come back and we'll meet and we'll be like, you know what would be nice if I could do this? And Lori will say, our customers have been asking for that for
That's why we go to events, y'all. That's it. If you want us to come to your event, you request us. We might be able to show up.
I'll be able to show up.
Yep. You can have the CEO.
Give us the worst job at the event and we might just automate it and hand it because
hold up. Don't listen to that. We do not want the worst job at the event.
Oh my God. I've taken out trash. I've replaced rolls of toilet paper. I have done all those things at events. But anyway, no, in all seriousness, you'd be like, you know what? I got to go figure out how to do blah in checkout. We'll either know how to do it or I'll come back the following Tuesday and say, we have got to automate this particular process because
it's the best when Jeff goes to events, guys.
Yeah,
it's
exactly. Yeah.
All right. The next one, purchase limits on for sale items.
Yeah.
This is
So
pretty
why would we do this?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the really obvious one is voting. Okay. So normally you could set up a for sale or an appeal item in Handbid and use it for voting and a fundraiser all at the same time. It's really cool. It's it's a great way to make money. We'll do a lot of fashion shows or other types of events where you can, even though you might have voting at the event, you can do what's called a fan favorite, right? And so this is where maybe you're doing a fashion show and there's contestants and they're walking down the runway and you create an item for every single one of them. At my Derby event, we have a ladies hat contest. Same concept. They walk in the door. We use the really cool Handbid iPhone tool and we demoed this at last month's live event. So you can go back and watch that. How I can create an item right there in the iPhone app, take their photo. They're in. Now they're in a category of basically donation items. And every vote for that particular lady in the hat contest was $5 in the donation, right? Well, sometimes you want to have an event where you only want to give people like 3 votes. They've already paid their money. And maybe they get 3 votes that they get to put out on various things, right? We do a lot of like, Top Chef competitions that are like that, and they don't want people donating or voting in an unlimited fashion. This is the way you can do that. You would say max a user can purchase, and you would put in an amount. Okay. So sitting here, I'm in a for sale item, and down below here, I can now set this, and Handbid will not let them buy more than that.
Mhm.
Okay. So how do you set up voting? Like, there's kind of a couple of things that you can do if you've never heard of using Handbid for voting before. So in here, I'm in this backyard barbecue party. Okay. I can set a limit, say they only can buy 5. And this is probably like not the best one, because why would I vote on a backward? But anyway, bear with me. We're going to do something cool. So we're going to go into the theme here. Okay. And then I'm going to go to labels, and that donate button, I'm going to make vote. And that for sale button, I'm going to make vote. Okay. And so now it's vote. Okay. Versus buy or bid or whatever it might be. So in this case here, it's awesome, especially if you like want to do something where you have a for sale item that's like sponsoring a kid, or maybe a tuition or something like this, and it could say, support this kid, or you can make it say whatever you want.
Mhm.
But anyway, so now inside of the app, underneath backyard barbecue party, you would see that. Okay. And let's go over here to look. I haven't been in here yet. Oh, I have to show the next thing first because it's about to pop up. Should I do that first and then come back and show them
Yeah.
the label?
Yep.
Okay, so we got to talk about the bidder question thingy.
Mhm.
Okay, can we skip over? Like, I know Lori has a very organized list, you guys, and like this is the part about me that drives her nuts, is because I don't really follow the order of the lists, and so we have a few of those ladies in the office. So Elise is one of them too. That's like, no, we're going to go from 2 to 3 to 4. No, we're going to skip down to like 8 in this list. Bidder
That's
custom
fine.
questions. So,
Bidder custom
okay,
questions.
because it's about to pop up on the app, and I want to show them both. So
Yeah.
okay, so we've always had the location question. We have a lot of sports teams who use the product, who always wanted to know who was in the venue and who wasn't. And so we called it the on-site question, and it's in the settings here. And so if I click on the settings in my little settings wheel and I go to bidders, we've always asked this thing, and it used to say bidder location question, but now we've changed it. It says bidder question, and it is still yes or no. But you can basically say whatever you want. You get to change the answers for what yes and no mean. Okay. And the reason we stuck with yes or no is just easier to get it out. And in some cases, the question could be yes or no.
Mhm.
Do you love Handbid? Yes, or we wouldn't put no on there, right?
Of course not.
Okay. So anyway, but some people use it to ask the bidder a very simple either or question. In this case here, where do you want to pick up your items? And then there's 2 choices, Denver or Colorado Springs, because maybe I have 2 pickup locations. Okay. Or maybe I'm a commercial client and I have 2 different point of sale stores, where you can come in, or warehouses. So
Multiple schools.
yes. And we have a client that absolutely does this. Their auction's coming up. We love them to death. They're the ones that pushed us to get this out. And they have 2 pickup locations. So their auction closes Saturday night, and Sunday they're going to go in and they're going to separate out by invoice where this stuff goes.
Mhm.
Okay. And everything that goes to one city is going in one truck, and everything that goes to the other city is going in another truck. Okay. So it's that kind of thing. And so it is going to prompt your bidders. Okay. In this case here, well, I love our theme. I should probably fix our theme. You can read the buttons. Somebody has definitely got
We like to
creative.
play around with these demo
I
options.
know somebody has definitely played around with this button.
Mhm.
So anyway, this says Denver and Colorado Springs. Okay. And so I say, oh, I'm going to pick up my items in Colorado Springs. So I'm going to hit that. And now you'll see on my bidder record, it has that answer. And so you can actually go change it too. And you can filter by this, so which is nice. So I can pull all the invoices or the bidder has said Colorado Springs. So I see who stuff has to go on that truck. Okay.
Yep.
So yeah. I needed to jump over and show that because I knew that question.
We knew the question was going to pop up. So back to what we were talking about too.
Backyard barbecue party.
Backyard barbecue party,
Barbecue.
purchase limit.
Okay. See my label? Vote. Okay. I guess I could try to buy like 8, and it's going to complain to me. I have exceeded the match purchase amount.
Yeah, you can't do
Lori?
that.
I can't do that.
You can't buy that many.
I can't. I got to buy 5.
You guys, I have a client who ran the coolest event that can speak to this. They did one of those celebrity dance offs and they had to vote for their favorite celebrity dancer. And that was their fundraiser. So every vote was like $100. And so you could go in and place as many votes as you wanted. So it's kind of cool. This would be the same way you could do it, just limit it. So you would,
Yes.
limit the people that are like, I'm gonna spend $15,000 to make sure my daughter wins, right? You don't want to do that. So
We've seen a little bit of that.
we've seen
We've
it.
seen a little bit of that. So anyway,
Cool.
Neat feature.
Very neat.
Pulling an item. Is that what we were talking about?
Pull an item from an auction. And why should you do this?
Oh, Lord. We shouldn't ever have to do this, but I need to get some bids on this stuff. So,
So while Jeff's talking
I
about
just
it,
need one bid.
yeah,
But so I'm going to place this bid. And so we have it right here.
oh,
Pull an
perfect. Okay.
item. Okay. Why would you do this? Well, one, you don't, if you have one bid on this item and you want to take this item out of the auction, okay, you probably don't need to pull it. You can just go to bids and delete the one item. But what ends up happening is sometimes, especially with some of our commercial clients, they'll have 50, 60, 70 bids on an item. And then all of a sudden somebody walked by in the store and broke it, right? Or you're at the event and it fell off the shelf or it never shows up
Mhm.
or whatever it might be. And you need to get it out of the auction and you don't want to sit there and delete 50 bids. Right? How frustrating would that be? That would be the job you would give me, right? When you talk about the dirty job, this is probably exactly what happened. You asked one of our staff people at an event to delete 50 bids and
Yep.
we created this feature.
Mhm.
This will delete all the bids and take the item out of your auction. Pull an item. Okay.
Easy.
Now we do have some stuff and I've shown this before and I do think it's related to this and it's important. Now, when you remove bids out of Handbid just for auditing purposes, it's for no other reason and it's not even required. But we do ask users, why are you doing this? And you can say this was a bidding mistake. Up to you whether or not you honor bidding mistakes or not. And especially if you have people who are underneath this person, it's going to assign the winner to them. So be very careful about what you do. But maybe this is the only bid on the item and they meant to bid on the trip to Puerto Rico and they accidentally bid on the trip to Dominican Republic. You can fix it. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to hit remove. Okay. And then what's nice about that is it'll say bid remove, but now we have this little like tool tip here that says it was removed by Jeff Porter and it was removed with the bidding reason of bidding mistake. And you'll see this in your reports as well. So it gives you a little bit as a manager, some auditing, some history, like what's going on here, especially since you might have people in here that, are doing different things and you don't know exactly what they're doing. And one of those next things would be
Tracking changes to items.
yes. And so in this case here, maybe somebody got rid of the reserve price. I'm going to delete this reserve price. Okay. Now, what might happen is you might say, why did this item sold for $80? Why did it sell for $80? We had a $100 reserve. What the heck happened? And you're thinking Handbid deleted your reserve price. Well, you get to go in here and hit audit item and you get to see what was changed on this.
Mhm.
Okay. So you'll see that the reserve price changed by Jeff on this day. The old value is 100, the new value was 0.
Mhm.
And this has come in really handy, not just obviously to save us, but to really help understand what was going on. Because sometimes you'll say to us, this happened, and we'll say, how could that have happened? And now we have an audit trail, because we'll get a lot of people saying, no one else has access to this to me. And then we'll go in there and say, Emily has access. Oh,
Right.
Emily.
Right.
That's right. I gave her access. So anyway, just something else to kind of give you guys peace of mind that's in there also.
Love it. All right. This is one of my new favorites. Setting up auctions. You guys are going to love this. Adding multiple images. at
Oh,
one
should we
time.
try this?
Yeah.
Okay. So you know me, I like to just go to images.google.com, right? If I could spell it, I could go there. All right. And we're looking for a sports basket.
Yeah. Or are we still on our barbecue? I don't remember what we were.
Well, we were, but I switched over to the sports basket. Let's just download a couple of these. I'm gonna save image as sports basket 1. And
So while
let's
Jeff's working, I'm going to tap to this a little bit.
call it item images.
So before you could upload one image at a time, right? So now we have the ability for you to upload multiple images all at one time, which is really, really cool. So we're excited about that because it's going to make this a little bit quicker. For some of you that are uploading 5, 6, 7, 8, 20
I know.
images per item
Of the same item.
of the
Yeah.
same item.
I
Yeah.
just picked a really bad item that you would probably never have multiple images of, a sports basket versus like, you know, a weekend for two in Cabo Azul, and then you could have like amazing photos of Cabo Azul. But this is still going to work,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
All right, so I'm going to choose a local file here, and we're going to have to go to, downloads, item images 2, and I'm going to grab all 3 now. Look at that.
Love it.
Okay, now you could still mess with them. So I can click on one and I can crop it and move it around and hit apply and, and then I can add that guy. Okay, and then maybe this one here, maybe it needs to be rotated. I don't know why I would ever rotate it. And then maybe it needs to be enhanced.
Oh,
Apply that. Okay. And then maybe this basket here, maybe it needs a little cropping done on it. Maybe it needs to come down. So we'll do that. Okay. Hit add. Okay. So I still get to edit them, which is nice. And then I can add them. Okay. And now we have this cute little button here, sort images. Okay. And now I can drag them around. So you got to kind of be a little patient as it tries to figure out where you want to put it. But now I can resort them and reorder them and hit update.
Love it.
Voila!
Oh,
And they should
happy.
show up in here, right? The sports gear basket. Should we go in and look?
Yeah.
Gear.
We'll QA this right now.
We're going to QA this. I'm going to hit this little image button. So this is another thing we added. You get this image gallery back, even if there's only one item in the auction for the iPhone. But here's my images. Oh, that one's upside down, like we said it was going to be.
Yeah.
Okay. Very cool.
Cool.
Love it.
Now we just went, demoed the bidder custom question. So now we're going to move into item import and export, just that little bit of how we've added additional fields to the bulk import
Yeah.
and export.
It's a really boring demo, so I'm not going to do it for you guys, but you now can import some additional fields. You can import the solicitor. You can import show value as priceless. People have been asking for that one for a long time.
Yeah.
I don't know how we missed that. Sorry. Anyway, it's in there. You can import the donor display sheet donor name. So what the heck are we talking about? Well, display, because we're going to talk about display sheets in a second, but display sheets are a little bit trickier because the description, we give you this amazing long description that you can put up on the web or in the app, but that's not going to work on a display sheet that you're going to print and put in front of the item. You got to be a little bit more concise. So underneath description inside of our thing, we've always had this display sheet description. Okay. And then we also realized that was the same problem for donors, is that, who donated the sports gear basket? I mean, it could be the NBA, it could be the Denver Nuggets, it could be the, I don't know, the Tennis Association
The Avalanche.
of America, the Colorado Avalanche. Okay, so you see what's going on here. I'm putting every donor in here because I want them recognized, but the problem is online, that's easy. On the display sheet, it gets overwhelming because, we've seen ones where it's like the Fred and Ginger Rogers, athletic foundation, right? And so I got to shorten this. And so now I can come in here and say like NBA, kind of Nuggets, Avs, in the Tennis Association of America, TAA. Okay, so I could do that. Okay, so now you can import that. So you're not in here hand typing that. Okay, and then the other one is every single item has a QR code. Okay, and so when I click on QR code, it pops up. But how do I get that onto a custom display sheet? Because we have some clients that use merge tools and build their own display sheets. Now this QR code will export. When you export all fields on an auction item, it will export a link to this QR code as well, so you can use it elsewhere. Okay.
Yay.
Should we show kind of where that might show up?
Sure.
Are we ready to do that?
Well, we
No.
still have one more.
Oh, we have one more. Sorry. I
Again,
gotta
pretty
follow along.
simple. Got to
Okay.
follow the rules, Jeff. All right, we added Google Pay and Apple Pay to the event site.
Yeah. Okay. So this depends on what you are using. So if you're in a Chrome browser or a Chrome equivalent, like Apple Pay is not going to show up. You can ask Apple and Google why they don't like each other, but that's why. Okay. But if you're in a Safari browser, Apple Pay will show up, and that's on the donation form. So or the ticket purchase form or the invoice purchase form. So it will say alternate payment methods, and you're going to be able to pick that.
And we've had that on the app for a while, but
Had it on the app for a while. We added it to the web,
yep.
and we'll add other payment methods also as that moves on.
So that wraps up what was recently added. So just a quick note to you guys, in the resources button at the bottom, I have put a link in there to the blog post for these release notes. So you can go through and read these release notes at your own time, whenever you want to. Of course, you have any questions, reach out to us at service@handbid.com. We're happy to help you. If you had a current question right now, go ahead and ask it, and our friend Elise is going to answer that for you. But let's move into the latest sneak peeks.
Oh,
We got two things we're going to show you today.
yeah, we only have a couple things we're going to show.
Yeah, you don't get too many. It's only one.
We have some other really cool stuff coming up, but some of it is like,
It's in production.
Yeah.
It's going to be, we're going to take some time on some of
okay,
those.
but like, as we've cleaned out some of our old brand, one of the things that that you can do in Handbid is you have these display sheets that you can generate, and we've kind of redesigned them. We've cleaned them up quite a bit. They're not fully done, but let's show you what we have so you can get a feel for it.
And we want your feedback. We love your
Yeah.
feedback. So put it in the Q&A.
Why not?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Okay, so this is our 8x10 style, and so this one here is going to let's just see if I can zoom out a little bit on it. So 8x10 kind of full frame, like you put them in those plexiglass frames. It will have like whatever you type in for the description will be here, and we can kind of go regenerate these if we need to. And then there's that QR code we were talking about, and that will take you right to the item, whether you're browsing on the web or if you're in the app, it'll definitely take you right to the item to bid on it. Okay. So there's our 8x10 redesigned. This here is our 5x7 format redesigned. And this is, I'll show you kind of what our half page looks like. That one needs a little bit of fixing. So this is the 5x7 sheets, so you can kind of get a feel for how they will print out when I ask Handbid to print out more than one of these. Okay.
So you'll just print them and chop them in half.
Yeah, and then in this case here, the half page, the only thing that's not correct about this is that it should be at the bottom of the page, so you could fold the paper in half. So anyway, that's the last thing that's got to get cleaned up on those. And then we created this new format I'm really excited about called a coaster format. These are pretty plain, but the idea is you kind of cut them out with a paper cutter, and it's just a little square. So there's not a lot on here, but they're really nice, especially if you don't have a lot of space.
You
Okay.
stick them on the items.
Yeah.
They're what, 3x3? Is that what those are? 3x3 roughly?
It's a good question. I'm looking at, this is an 8.5 by 11 paper. So
Well,
yeah, 3 or 4.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I love this idea because you can stick them right on the item. We used to do, in a lot of events I've worked, we would do that with the 5x7s, but sometimes they'd be a little big and cumbersome. So these are just really cool to put around the items. Love it.
Yeah. Now, you heard me mention earlier, custom display sheets. We do work with some clients. We'll do them for you. If that's something you're interested, like, what are we talking about? We talk about custom display sheets. I mean, we are literally talking about a completely customized, fully designed display sheet. And we've done a bunch of them in the past. I don't know if I have one I can show you. Yeah, I do. Let's pop one up. And so you can kind of see what they look like.
And for those of you that are kind of newer to us, just to clarify with this is an option we have on all of our items. You can bulk print these as well. You can print by category, which is how I prefer to do it, just to kind of do a little QA for myself. But these are options for you, display sheets that you can put around on your display when you're showing your silent auction items, or if you're going to do a live auction display as well, right? So this allows your guests to easily be able to access the item in the system, either on the browser or on the app, depending
Right.
on what they're using.
So if you look at this, like, this is one that we worked with a client to do, and this is fully editable. It's a form, but we generated one for every item in their package. And so as you can see, there's an item image that gets populated here. This is old. This has got the old logo on it, but you see that we went ahead and loaded their sponsors. It's kind of a fixed column in here. We put their logo at the top, and we made it look how they wanted it to look. So that is possible with Handbid. I'm just saying that, like, you know, it was harder to do when you didn't have the QR codes exporting into the spreadsheet, and now they are. And so there are ways to do this. And if this is of interest to you, reach out to us, and we can either show you how to do it, or we'll do it for you. You know, it's going to cost a little money.
I was just gonna say, Jeff, it's gonna cost a little money,
It'll
but
cost you a little money, but I
here for
mean,
you.
but if that's something that you feel is going to enhance your event, we're all about elevating your event, and display sheets are part of it. I mean, it looks a little wonky. Like, I like our new ones because they're not blue. They don't have the Handbid brand around it. And if you're having a, you know, a black and white gala, you don't want those. I mean, ours are a little bit plainer looking. And we'll probably add some theming capabilities into them, you know, kind of as they are. But either way, like, what's nice is you have the ability to start with a clean blank sheet of paper and make it look how you want.
Yeah, and people usually, what I've seen at events that look really nice is like some cardstock behind it, and then you put the, you know, display sheet on top. So when you're doing the 3x3 or 4x4, whatever size that is that we determined, you know, those kind of things, you just put a little cardstock behind it, make it look a little fancier. It's cute. Like, or put a little, I've seen people do those stickers, those puff stickers or whatever in the corners and things like that, you know, like a cowboy boot or like a little, you know, sheriff's badge, something like that. So, I mean, be creative, think out of the box a little bit with these, but these are more simple and pretty cool for you as far as that's concerned too. The next thing that we're excited about talking about with a sneak peek is extended bidding. So quite a few of you have been reaching out to us wanting that option.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that a little bit. What is extended bidding?
Yeah, and we demoed this a little bit last month, but really honestly, we used to have this feature. So we need to have a little chat about extended bidding. Can we have a little chat?
Sure.
Okay, so we used to have this feature, and we ended up taking it out because all we saw it doing was confusing one party over the other. Okay, so the way auctions work, as you know, when the auction ends, whoever's the highest bidder is the winner. Okay, and so when that highest bidder was somebody who thought they were, you know, placed that last second bid and won it, they expect to be the one winning it. Okay, when the losing bidder was the person who placed the bid, you know, 45 seconds before it ended and never paid attention to it again and lost, they would be upset if they got outbid. Okay, so the question, like, hey, this is totally fair, right? We're just going to allow you to extend the item if there's a last second bid on it. It's called anti-sniping, right? Or popcorn bidding or one of those. And we'll just extend that item and basically let these two bidders have it out. Well, the sniper would then get mad. So as we started doing this, the sniper's getting mad, and then the charities are also like, we don't really know what to do. And, you know, and so we just decided to pull the feature out and rethink it. And so we've made some changes to how it works. It works like most other auction platforms work. Right now, it works at the item, the category, or the auction level. Okay. And so what that allows you to do is to only extend certain items that you feel like you want to extend. And not have to do every single thing in the auction. Okay. For sale items and appeals don't extend anyway because they don't close when the auction closes, for example. Like, we want people to donate after your auction closes. There shouldn't be any sort of limitation there. So those types of items, if you want to close them, you just need to close them. Okay. But for extended items, like, we wanted you to have this ability at more granular level. Okay. So I can show you really quick how it's going to work. We're not going to walk through the entire process of doing it now. We'll do, you know, obviously training videos and service videos on how it actually functions, but I'll explain it to you, you know, as we kind of dive into this. But if we're in a test auction here, and if I go into the settings and I go to the bidders, this is where you would turn it on. And then here's where you would put in a threshold. Now, that threshold is in minutes. Okay. So we don't do the 30-second thing. So if I want to say any bids that were placed in the last minute of this particular item, category, or auction closing, I'm going to set a 1 here and I'm going to hit update. So when that item closes, if there was a last second bid, it's going to reset it on a timer basis. So now the next thing you get to do is you can just use this at the auction level, just like it used to work. So you could say, you know what, I'm just going to set a timer on the auction and I'm going to let it close. And when the auction closes, Handbid closes by category. So it'll go through every category and close the items in there. Okay. And as it's closing items, it'll say, was there a bid placed in the last minute? And if there was, it's going to set a 1-minute timer and mark it extended. And what's going to happen on the phone or what's going to happen on the event's website is it's going to say auction closed. These items were extended. It's going to take you to a special category called extended items, and it's going to show them to you with a timer, 1 minute. People bid on it. We just reset the timer, right? So, you know, somebody places a bid, it resets the timer to a minute, starts counting again. Okay. So that makes a lot of sense. Pretty straightforward. And then when you want to kill it for good, you just go in there and close the item. Okay. Now, the other thing is if you just wanted to do it on certain items, this can get tedious if you have hundreds upon hundreds of items. And so what we allow you to do now is bulk select these, and very similar to what you would see with bulk edit, we have under bulk actions set close timers. And so I can pull this up and I can say close all of these items in 20 minutes. Okay. Like, but what we really want to do is we want to close them at a certain time. And so maybe we want to close all these items tomorrow at, I don't know, let's just say 4:00 p.m., 4:05 or 4:45 or whatever. Let's say 4:00 p.m. Let's just do it that way. Okay. So tomorrow, 4:00, I'm going to close all these items. Just tell me what time zone that is, because sometimes we forget. And then I want to stagger the item close. Okay. Now, when I do that, oops, I lost my, let's go 1700. Let's do that. We're going to close it at 5 now. Okay. But I want him to close every 5 minutes. Okay. So the first one's going to close at 5, the next one at 5:05, the next one at 5:10, the next one at 5:15, and so on. So I'm going to hit schedule. Okay. So that helps, right? Especially if you have people that are watching multiple items and you don't want, boom, 50 items all close at once. You want to kind of stagger them, you can do that. So you see now all these timers are set for 1 day, 3 hours, 17 minutes and 20 seconds. This one's 22 minutes. This one's 27 minutes. Kind of cool. Okay. Anyway,
Cool.
we have a lot of commercial clients that have been dying for that. And so that's kind of what we built, but you don't have to do it at this level. You can also do it at the category level. I can go in here to manage categories. And if I want the artwork category to close at a certain time, I can do that also.
Yeah,
Okay.
just make sure you just communicate what you're doing.
Yeah.
Right? Communicate what you're doing and talk to your team about this. If this is something you want to implement, you know, there's going to be some sticking points with it, like Jeff talked about.
Pros and cons.
Pros and cons.
Yeah.
So make sure you know the pros and cons.
Yeah.
You guys talk about it. The most important thing is bidder experience. So we want to make sure that they understand what you guys are doing and why.
What does
Okay.
extended bidding mean?
Right.
And so they understand what's going to happen.
No surprises.
We want you to have maximum revenue. So
Right.
basically what extended bidding does is it's going to take a silent item and it's going to turn it into a live auction item at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because the winner will be when the bidding stops. It won't be when the timer stops. Okay. And so it's great when everybody involved understands the rules.
And it's
Okay.
fun. It can be fun.
It is fun.
Yeah.
It's not great when somebody feels like they got cheated, and it doesn't really matter to you probably who it is, right?
Yeah.
You just don't want someone barking in your ear at the end of the event because they felt like they got cheated on it, right? With everybody forgetting that it actually is a charity, right? We are actually here to make money for people. But you know, when that particular person doesn't get that bearskin rug, like the fangs are going to come out. We understand. Okay. So,
Competitive edge there. You just make sure you're communicating with them.
I've
make-
never seen a fist fight at an auction event before. I'm just kidding.
I was like, yes, we
I
have.
had
Oh, guys,
over this kind of stuff.
we should
So
do one
anyway.
whole webinar of just things we've seen.
Oh, yes. What
Oh
is
my
that thing?
gosh.
We know a thing or two because we've seen
Seen a thing or
Yeah,
two.
we should do
Mhm.
those commercials.
Yeah,
All right.
good.
What are we up
Right.
to next?
So we're going to do these pretty quick with you guys. We want to share a pro tip with you.
Pro tip.
Yeah, pro tip. So
Who's the pro?
I'm going to be the pro.
All right.
Well, maybe
But I have the computer.
but you're going to demo it. I'll say the pro tip and then you can demo it. So the pro
Right.
tip is in digital scene, color matching to optimize your colors on the event site. So there's just a little trick we want to give you as you're designing your digital scene to make it look the best. And we want you to kind of see how it functions a little bit here. So you're going to choose your primary colors and then you'll
Go in the theme editor.
yeah, let's go in the theme editor. And remember, if you don't have digital scene as part of your package, reach out to us in Q&A. Let us know this is something you want to do. This is how you brand your site to look a little less like us and a little more like you and your organization. So, or the event. All right. So working with digital scene, we're just going to give you a little tip here on a little bit of design.
Yeah. And look, I mean, I think maybe in the future we just make this simpler, but you see, there's a lot of colors that we allow you to change in Handbid, and they change on the events website, and they change, as you saw, in the apps, which is really cool, right? That you literally kind of get within your event kind of a custom app experience. But looking at these main colors, the buttons, the bidding, I get it. It's overwhelming. And you're like, then you start messing with it and you're like, it doesn't look good. Okay. Well, what I would do is let's just kind of go into like a completely probably untouched auction. Okay. And the reason I want to do that is I want to get into something that's probably never been messed with in terms of digital scene. And it doesn't matter what it is. Oh, wait, I got to turn it on first. Look at me, I'm not authorized. Okay. This is why we do demos. Okay. So anyway, so if you look at the colors, these are the default colors. Okay. And so the question is how do I take what Handbid gave me and make it still look good? And the recommendation is you change these main colors, okay? And then wherever you see that same color, you replicate it, okay? So an example here, if I really wanted to change the default font color, okay? In this case here, I'm going to make it like this blue color. So wherever I saw that old gray color, and I don't have any others, I would replicate that, right? This hyperlink text color, I don't like this hot pink. I want it to be maybe green, okay? So now wherever I saw that hot pink, I would make it green, okay? And that's just a really simple way of kind of going through the theme, and just because the theme colors for Handbid have been set based on how they look on the screen and that they complement each other. So it's just easier to start with that and then look at it and say, does this look okay? Or is there something in here I don't like? Okay. And then going in and fixing that. Okay. And so some of these are like, well, it's black. I like black. Or you know what? No, I want the purchase color to be, I don't want it to be black anymore. I want it to be this like dark red. I have no idea what to say. Let's just change this. This is going to look so ugly and they're going to think we're terrible people. Anyway, secondary color, maybe this needs to be maybe blue, like this light blue. So now I'm just going to find everywhere where that purple was and I'm just going to replace it. And then we're going to update this guy. And then this is going to be crazy. And then we're going to put it in a preview mode. And then I have to actually go back in here and turn this theme on. All right. Is this going to work? I have no idea.
They could look pretty bad. We'll see. Yay.
It's not awful. I don't love this color, but you see what I did, right? I mean, at least it's one of those things where if I hit register here, it's not awful. Okay. I mean, I've seen somewhere it's like, you can't read anything. So I like this blue color. And then this footer we can actually change. So, it's one of those things where, hey, it's a good start. Like, I mean, anyway.
Start with matching the color.
It's a pro tip. And we're running out of time.
Yeah, we are running out of time. So quickly, let's talk about an event best practice. So this event best practice comes from podcast number 18. What is wrong with me today? I think
you're trying to rush.
Podcast number 18. I'm going to slow down. Mastering event check-in. This is one of our most popular podcast episodes because we know that check-in can be a little stressful. So we did a whole podcast on some tips and tricks to make a check-in better. So make sure you check it out. Podcast number 18, anywhere that you get podcast downloads, you can find us, Elevate Your Event. This pro tip is set up cocktail tables at check-in and use iPads. So the typical way that people do check-in is that we have seen is, a 8-foot table, 6-foot tables. People are sitting down at chairs. There's
laptops,
laptops.
God forbid, sometimes a printer.
Maybe a printer. And you have your stacks of paddle numbers if you're handing paddle numbers out, and somebody comes up to you and they're looking down at you and you're looking up at them to check them in, right? So what we suggest is you have an iPad to use for check-in. The iPad is super robust, as is the iPhone for check-in as well.
And the Android phone.
Yeah,
Sorry, Android user. She doesn't like you. I do.
sorry, my
I like
bad.
you.
You can stand up. You can greet your guests as they walk in. They don't have to come find you. You go find them when they come in the front door. You greet them, say, hey, welcome. What's your last name? Let me look it up here for you. And you pull them off to the side gently and they go ahead and get checked in. You can use cocktail tables to set some stuff on there if you like. I actually have gotten the point on even use a cocktail table.
Well, you're standing, and that's
Yeah.
the key. And I like the cocktail table, just because it makes it easy to have the stack of paddles, and I'm not holding all these things in my hand. But
Yeah.
but either way, have you ever been checked in at an airport by somebody sitting at a table? No. Have you ever been checked into a hotel by somebody sitting at a table? No.
No, you're
They're
right, Jeff.
standing behind a desk. Like we're face to face. I can hear people better. They don't have to lean over the table, right? Like it's just way better.
Yeah.
Okay. But it's not typical. And so we call it a pro tip. I like it. I mean, we can even get into deeper pro tips. If you go watch this episode, you're gonna get a lot, around using mobile devices to check people in. But anyway,
Yes. Please use them.
yes.
We love them.
Yeah, book a demo with us if you have any more questions. If you're an existing client, thank you for being in the Handbid family, and reach out if you have any questions about what we covered today.
Yeah.
We're gonna do this again in a month, but we're gonna have
Or
other
so.
So I'm just putting pressure on her.
A month or
loves it.
so, everybody,
Yeah.
a month or so. So the Q&A is going to stay open for a few more minutes until we're not getting any more Q&A questions. So make sure you pop those in there. We'll continue to answer those for you. But as for today, we appreciate you joining us. Thank you for being a part of our family, and please join us again soon.
Yeah, good luck on your fundraising.